This is the all-new Hyundai Elantra, boldly redesigned for 2021. The Elantra has its work cut out for it because it has to compete against some of the best-selling cars in America. How does it hope to compete? Look at it. But is this wild design enough? Let's find out. Hyundai first came to America in the 1980s with a small car called the Excel. The Excel is only notable because it was the second cheapest new car you could buy after the Yugo. Man, has this brand come a long way. The Elantra exists in a segment where things like horsepower and road holding and grip, they don't really matter. Instead, Hyundai wants to compete with three things: design, technology, and price. Trouble for them is cars like the Honda Civic and the Nissan Sentra, they do those three things really well. Then you have the Toyota Corolla, which does one or two of them really well, but is a juggernaut. They sell those like hotcakes. That said, Hyundai is not going down without a fight. Let's take a look at design. I don't think it's a stretch to say that the most important thing about the new Elantra is the way it looks. Hyundai had to go from design zero to hero. How do you get there? They hired a guy named Peter Schreier. He's the former head of design at Audi. Now he's in charge of not only Hyundai, but Kia and the new luxury brand Genesis as well. I just dig it. To me, it reminds me of like what Giugiaro was up to in the 1970s, like great futuristic Italian design. Look at this grille. Yes, it's too big. All grills are too big now, but this one is super cool looking. It's just interesting. You know, and everywhere you look, there's a great design flourish. Like, I'll point out a couple examples. This is probably my favorite part of the whole car. There's a little line here. No one will ever notice it. Most owners will own the thing for 10 years and never see it, but you have this nice curve with this line breaking it up, and it's such a great nuance. And then as you come back, the design gets better and bolder. You get to the rear and it's a cross between futuristic and experimental. It just looks so good and looks so much more expensive than this car costs. If I have a critique, it's that their ambition outpaces their ability. If you had an equally priced Volkswagen sitting right here and you looked at the metalwork, you'd see that the Volkswagen can really fold metal at a much higher caliber than Hyundai's capable of. And you know, like this door panel's in 1 millimeter or 2, big panel gap here. But they're trying, they're really making an effort. And I think it's just, for what it is, it looks fantastic. The bold, high-end design continues on the inside of the Elantra. Let me point out a couple things, right? Okay, right here, this is a relatively hard plastic surface, but they patterned it, right? It's not just random injection molding. They actually took the time to do a repeating pattern, and it's a little tiny thing, but it pays off. And you see the same thing here on the door card, right? This is just some kind of rubberized fabric, but it has these 3 lines of stitching. Looks great, and it continues into the air vents, and then this bright work design that goes across the vent. A tiny little thing, but you don't see it in cars at this price point. Something else you don't see at this price point: 2 digital screens, one for your instrument cluster and one for your infotainment. And I really like this infotainment screen, not just for how it works, but for how it looks, right? When you hit home, this is the default screen. It's not shouting at you, it's not flashing 1,000 icons, it's calm, it's relaxing. Should you need to be shouted out, should you need 1,000 icons, swipe here, boom, here's everything you can do with the car. It's got navigation. Sitting position's pretty good. It's a little cramped, but it's a small car. That said, the back seat is surprisingly large. The takeaway I want you to have is that the Hyundai Elantra really does feature good, innovative design on the exterior and the interior. Great design, great technology, not so great performance. Let's be frank. 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque, driving only the front wheels through a continuously variable transmission, is nobody's idea of a good time. This is not very quick and it doesn't handle very well. If you need that, Hyundai does make the Elantra N-Line. That's a different video. However, the base model of the Elantra gets 43 miles per gallon on the highway, which is about as good as any non-hybrid car will ever get. This is the Elantra Limited, and it gets 41 miles per gallon on the highway. So if you think of this as a crazy futuristic looking commuter car, you're gonna be okay. Plus, the ride quality is actually pretty good. As far as safety goes, we don't know. And we don't know because nobody has crash tested a 2021 Elantra yet. What we do know is that Hyundai has stuffed this thing with almost every active safety feature you can find in the segment, including on this one, the Elantra Limited semi-autonomous driving capability. How much? You can get into a base Hyundai Elantra for a few $100s under 21,000 bucks. For a limited edition like the one sitting next to me, it's about $6,000 more. How does it compare to the rest of the segment, specifically the three cars we talked about? The Civic costs more, the Corolla and the Sentra cost less. However, none of them look this cool. If there's one thing I want you to know about the 2021 Hyundai Elantra, it's that you don't normally get this level of design at this price point. And look, we know it's loaded with technology. It has all kinds of active safety features. A Honda Civic drives better, a Toyota Corolla drives worse, and the price is competitive. So if you're in the market for a small sedan, the Hyundai Elantra makes a great case for itself. And then if you throw in that design factor, it almost becomes a must-buy. To check out the latest rankings, go to motortrend.com/cars.